And thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and Mayor Emanuel and Mr. Kaplan. I very much look forward to our exchange today and appreciate the testimony you've already provided. And let me also thank your families for supporting you. To Amy and to Zach, who I had the opportunity to meet in person, but I've spoken to before, and to Lana and other family members, Leah, who are watching. And thank you, Mayor, for sharing your personal story and journey and what that has brought to you and your decades of public service. And to Mr. Kaplan and your daughter Samantha and other members of your life who are with us today. It's wonderful to have both of you in front of us and to have this chance to interact with you about these two important positions that have been vacant for too long with two absolutely vital Indo-Pacific partners for the United States. I am, as I think you both know, the chair of the Appropriations Subcommittee responsible for our foreign assistance, and Japan is also a major donor in development assistance in the region. And one of the reasons I worked with a number of my colleagues to help create the Development Finance Corporation was so that we had a new and more modern tool, more capable of partnering with JBIC and ADB, the Asian Development Bank, and the Japanese investment entity. How do you believe, Mr. Mayor, that we can use the DFC to more closely partner with Japan's development entities, and how do you think partnering with our regional allies, whether it's Australia or Japan, South Korea, others, in development finance, might actually create a new chapter in providing alternatives that are more transparent, that are more sustainable for the development of the region?
Senator Coons, thank you for that question. I do want to take 1 second and personally, as I have privately, thank you publicly. When you were on a CODEL to Korea, you personally called Zach to check in on him. And a high order, you made one Jewish grandmother and mother very happy, and that's a very tall order. So I want to thank you, Senator, for doing that personally. On a serious note, in the process of talking to a lot of people, one, I did not realize that Japan is actually larger investor in infrastructure around the region than China. We hear a lot about Belt and Roads, about the China plan. Japan is actually, by about a number of about 75 billion in US dollars, bigger than China in the region. That's a big asset with our ally. Second, on top of it, if you do polling among the public in the region, Japan is the most popular country. Again, a big asset in our partnership. Third, as I've repeated, as I said earlier, and I want to repeat, the architecture from Prime Minister Abe lives on and is now adopted by all, which is a free and open Indo-Pacific. I think making these investments in infrastructure, our creative financing, our strategy can make an opportunity both for these type of economic opportunities that would exist in infrastructure that's linked in with the United States and Japan, and two, because we will do it in a way that's open, based on a rules-based system, it will stand in direct contrast to the violations of China's Belt and Roads that doesn't meet the standards of OECD standards. And I think that opportunity for us to talk to future countries that may be looking at the United States or Japan and say, here are the way we're going to do this so you don't become debt dependent like often happens with China. That is a key opportunity with an ally, a popular ally, who shares the same values and commitment to a rules-based system. That is something that we want to harness to our strategic overall interests in the region.
Thank you. Let's talk a little bit more, if we can, about the modern digital economy and ways in which trade and better integration with Singapore, with Japan, with the region would actually serve our interests. The digital trade agreement between the United States and Japan that we concluded in 2019 could be a useful starting point. Singapore has been a leader in creating digital trade agreements with its trading partners. And USTR Catherine Tai recently met with her Singaporean counterpart, and they expressed an intent to work together on digital trade. I'd be interested in hearing from both of you, if I can, how we could advance work with Japan, with Singapore, to set rules and standards for the digital economy that can serve as a model for the region, model for the world, and help provide a more attractive alternative to digital authoritarianism.
Do you want to go first?
Sure. Thank you so much for that question. Well, I think, as I said, since 2003, we've enjoyed an incredible free trade agreement with Singapore, and the $90 billion that, is passing between our borders is a critical component to the economic success of really the region and of both countries. And I think as the world moves digital, I think it's going to be incredibly important for me, if I'm confirmed, to make sure that Singapore understands this, make sure that we are involved in these discussions, make sure that as Japan and other countries in the Indo-Pacific region start to develop these agreements, that the United States is right there front and center.
I want to echo my friend, Ambassador-to-be, hopefully Kaplan, has said. We've talked about this in our training, and I would just say, and again, if have the opportunity to be confirmed, work alongside, a digital writing of the rules is exactly what we want to be doing by saying this is a rules-based system, not based on one country's own self-interest, but what stands the test of time for all the countries in the party. And as somebody who's been a student of our politics, talking about it this way, approaching the digital piece of the economy, the writing the rules, gets us away from the kind of what I would call Hunger Games of our politics moment you say the word trade, or the moment you talk about that, but dealing with writing the rules goes to the strength of a partnership based on a values-based, rules-based system rather than going and dealing with, I think, the weaker part of our politics. And I think that would advance our interests in the region, and it's very clear by the ambassador to the USTR from the United States. She has made that clear as well.
Well, thank you both. Mr. Mayor, you demonstrated your diplomatic skill with the breadth of who introduced you today. You were both introduced by wonderful colleagues, and I look forward to visiting Japan and Singapore in the future and to working with you in your roles. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.